Alright, so a while ago I said I couldn't find a way to do Fog of War, but with the help of another user and GameMaker user, BastendorfEvergrass, or Bast for short, was able to make an object that over time loses, or rather gains alpha transparency. What that means is it could be an entire object that's completely black, and over time would lose its alpha transparency, which means it'll go to white, and eventually could destroy itself. You could put in a variable to destroy itself, or just simply exist, but because its alpha transparency would be practically invisible, you wouldn't need it there anymore, and it wouldn't even matter if it did exist. So he did, did make that code to make the object lose alpha transparency over time. Let's see. I'm just going to be doing this in I edited it to an extent because the problem is you still have to layer it. So now that we actually had a good working alpha transparency object, we need to actually get it in the room. So that required two objects, place fog and draw a rectangle. And what those will do is it'll have a little loading thing, and then a black rectangle that'll cover the entire map, and then those will disappear. You'll see the character, or you'll see what you can see because the Fog of War is gone, and that'll be that. So for instance, instead of he has object underscore hero, replace that with your attack underscore spot enemy, I think. That's the object. All the object that's created each step, that's what you would replace it with. And you'd only need to replace it for object underscore fog with a collision event. But I'm just going to redo this. I'm just going to do it in code. If image underscore alpha is smaller than less than 100, which is how you would write it in here, if image underscore alpha is less than negative 100, there we go. Oh wait, then we have instance underscore destroy, that's in the step event, and that's for the fog, and that's how the fog will determine if it's less. But in collision with object hero, what we have is if global.roomStart is equal to 1 rather, if global.roomStart equals 1, as in the room was started. Alright, image underscore alpha, let's see, that's image underscore alpha minus equals 0.1. You can change that at 0.1. If you were just moving across the screen, it would still leave it a little bit dark, but you can just run right back. So 2 passes and all the blocks will be completely invisible. So it does. You can also go 0.05. That one worked pretty well as well. And then okay. Destroy the instance. What? Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Huh. Oh, that's right. Right. What I did was, when this happens, I destroyed 2 of the objects, with alright, with draw underscore rectangle. I'll explain what I'm doing in just a second. Sorry about that. this is why I normally like to have the code written before I do tutorials. But the point is, when we have this type of thing, we have two objects, and the loading is just there simply for the fact that to tell the user it's loading. In fact, it's not loading. It's just a trick to make the user think that it's loading. In fact, what it's doing is it's drawing. It's simply just drawing object fogs all over the map, side to side, and then up to down. And it takes some time, but at the same time it works pretty well. So we have object underscore fog, and we have object in collision with object underscore hero. We have if global.room underscore start equals 1, or is it just room start? I think it's just room start. You make your own variable. Image underscore alpha minus equals 0.1, then with draw underscore rectangle instance underscore destroy, and then with place fog, or whatever you named it, instance underscore destroy. And now I'm gonna try and speed this up a little bit. Alright, now we have place fog. Place fog, when it's created, its x is equal to room underscore height times 0.5. This lets it move to the exact center, left and right, on the x-axis of the room. Y equals room height times 0.5. This lets it get to the exact center now. So now it's at the center of the room. Loading will be in the center of the map. Now if you don't want this, change the x and y to the center of your original view. That'll probably work best. Then we have current x equals 0, current y equals 0. Then we have global.roomStart equals 0, then instance underscore create in parentheses x comma y comma draw underscore rectangle. So now we're actually creating the object draw rectangle. Then in step we have instance underscore create at current x comma current y comma object underscore fog. So now we're creating an object underscore fog at the current x and y coordinates. Then current x plus equals 32. So next step, we're going to place it to the right, and then we're going to do it to the right again, and etc. Now we're going to have if current x is greater than room underscore width, in parentheses, current x equals 0. So now we're going all the way back to the left, and current y plus equals 32. So now we're on the next row, and we'll do the next row, and the next row, and the next row. And we're just going to wait until it places fog at every single x and y position on the screen. I know it sounds weird, but what are you going to do? If you have a GUI, make sure to make the first x the pixel after the GUI, and then the rest will fall into place, supposedly. Maybe. I can't make any promises exactly. But or make the GUI objects higher, as in depth. I'll show you how to do that. Then finally we have if current y is greater than room underscore height, which means our y is now outside the room. Global.roomStart equals 1. So now all of the objects are placed. Global.roomStart. Now the fog needs to be higher in depth, which means the lowest negative number of all the objects except for place underscore fog and draw underscore rectangle. Those need to be 1 higher. So if this depth is negative 10 and everything else is higher than that, draw rectangle and whatnot have to be below that, or this one's 6. Never mind. Only place underscore fog needs to be higher than that. Draw rectangle needs to be higher than object underscore hero. Just one will be fine. Then draw rectangle. In the draw event we only have two things: set color, which can be found underneath draw, underneath settings, and we set the color to black. And then we have draw rectangle. X1 is equal to 0, Y1 is equal to 0, X2 is equal to room underscore width, and Y2 is equal to room underscore height, and it's filled and it's not relative. So now what we're going to do is, all you need to do is place a hero and place the place fog, and we're just going to start the room, and we'd be good. I'll show you what happens. the loading comes up, and what's happening is it's creating objects like this, and then it just snaps back and creates another row and another row and another row. When it gets to here, this position right here, it's all going to be done, which just happened now. And now you can see as we move, it starts to flake away and kind of makes its own alpha thing. You can trace back, and the more you travel an object, the more discovered, I guess you could say, it would become, which kind of makes sense. And if you don't like this and you just want to destroy, or you want a collision with it so it sets a variable to something and then can never set it again or something, I don't know. Customize the object fog however you want. Maybe you don't want it to lose its alpha transparency this fast, or maybe you want it to work differently. Go ahead and change it. But that's the best I could come up with. Maybe you can come up with a way to create the object faster. I'm working on it now. If I find a way, I'll delete this video and put up that one. So thanks again to Bass for making the alpha transparency object. That helped. And for everyone watching, thanks for watching, and please comment.